So with my last video, I got a request from Jonathan on Facebook. Can you do a tips and tricks video on Inner Hospital? My pleasure. And you know, I'm really looking forward to making this one because Inner Hospital is one of my favorite maps in the game right now. And I think a big part of why I like it so much is that we've kind of got 4 separate battles going on at any given time, one at each of the choke points. You've got a fight going on for control of Darkroom, one going on for control of the main T, one for control of Glass, and one out of view back here for control of West Wing. And so there's this balance between the individual skill of the people fighting for control of each of these 4 areas, and the coordination that has to happen when they all kind of come back for this last push for getting to extract here. You know, if any one of these falls, it really opens up possibilities for your team to help one another out in pushing through another area, right? If defense loses control of Glass, the people up there can kind of shoot down to harm the abilities of people over here to prevent people from pushing out through main T or from, you know, controlling Darkroom. Once your team has lost control of Darkroom, I'm assuming you're on defense, if you lose control of defense of this, those attackers can push out to shoot at people back here, so that your guys at main T can push out. Any one place, once you lose it, opens up opportunities for your team to attack somewhere else. And I think on some of the other maps, it's a little bit too easy for a defender to quickly hop from one place to another to kind of fill in the gaps, that sort of thing. You know, here, if I'm in West Wing playing defense and I hear Darkroom's going down, there's only so much I can do, right? So you've kind of got that balance between each player on the team having their own role and their own things that they should be doing to help. And I think that kind of makes communication and coordination more important. And I think it just works really well here. So I think the way I'm going to structure this talk is kind of go through choke point by choke point and talk about how I would play defense and attack there. And hopefully that'll give you a little bit of overview on everything. Frankly, there aren't too many trick grenades or anything like that here like I've shown on some of the other maps. So I'm going to try to talk a little bit more about just kind of tactics and playing smart in general and how people in one area can coordinate with people somewhere else to make things happen. So let's start over here at West Wing. If I'm playing defense here, what am I trying to accomplish? Well, there's kind of 2 goals here, right? The first goal is to prevent attackers from getting through defense spawn. Although, to be honest, defense spawn, there's a lot of ways to defend that. I mean, look at what you have to contend with when you come out of here. First, just getting out this door. There's people that'll sit on this box, or they'll sit up here. So just getting your way out through here is kind of risky. And then once you're out here, you've got bushes all along here, you've got more foliage all the way through here. You've got pillars here, here, and here, and here, and here. You've got this entire planter there that people can hide behind. You know, a person could be crouching here, and they're pretty darn hard to see. There's just so many places a defender can be back here, and it's kind of hard to contend with. So realistically, it's kind of a fool's errand to try to push too hard out here through assault, unless you're confident that most defenders are somewhere else. If you do get back here, you've got some long-range shots on people that could be hiding like behind the chair back here. Watch Darkroom. That chair right there, I guess we found the draw distance limit on that. But you know, that's the goal if you do get through here. Hopping back over here. So the second goal is the one that I think is more important if you're playing defense of West Wing, and that's preventing access to this hallway for the attackers. If they do get through this hallway, and then they can really affect the ability of your guys over at Darkroom to play defense there. So I think that's more what you want to do. There's also the whole deal where if you're on defense and you do get control of West Wing, you can help out the guys at main T. If they call in attackers back at this corner, you can hit anybody trying to peek that corner without exposing yourself down this entire hallway. So it works really well to have somebody actually able to push into here. The more passive way to play defense here is to hold this corner, and as soon as you've engaged once, you know, you see someone weak, you take some shots and you back off. You can just drop a flash and use that to allow yourself the cover to get all the way back here, right? And the idea is you just want to stay alive as long as you can, just because every time the enemy has to push around a corner and engage you, they have to waste resources, they have to waste bullets. You've got more chances to get them as they come around that corner. Because really, anytime you come around a corner, that's the highest risk time you're going to die, right? So you want to get the assault team to have to turn around as many corners as possible. And the way to do that is to engage and then back off. Engage and retreat. One of the only trick grenades I know of in this map, at least, is when you're on defense to come here, and normally people will try to run all the way up here and throw it this way, that really exposes you. Assault has a much better angle to throw that. What you can do is just bounce it off that wall up there, that beam, and that'll get the grenade just around that corner anyway, and deny this area to Assault. Stop that really early rush. More players are being smart about that and kind of hanging back a little bit on Assault. And the other thing you can do if you're feeling lucky, and actually Assault or Defense can do this, is just drop a fog. That's actually a little too far. Is just drop a fog really close to this pillar here, and that'll cut off the view to let you hop over desk and get back here and play defense from this area. Problem with trying to do that kind of thing is, as soon as you've dropped that fog, it really telegraphs to the other guys, hey, I'm thinking about trying to hop over there, and they might throw their spam grenades accordingly. One thing I don't like seeing very much is people play defense back here, and personally I kind of feel like this is kind of saying, hey, I think the Assault team is going to make a mistake and forget to check this corner when they come around. You might get some picks on 1 or 2 guys this way, but as soon as somebody knows you're back there, look at all Assault has to do to take care of you. I can just, you know, carefully edge my way up along this wall. This whole time I could be watching this corner, and if I know you're still back there, and I mean, where would you have gone? You're trapped. I can just throw a grenade, and you are totally screwed there. You've got nowhere to run. And then I can even just lean over here, and if you're still at that chair, I can actually shoot from the chair. So, you know, not a good way to play, not good for long-term strategy, and I just feel like, you know, long-term you'll get better if you don't try to play those quote-unquote cheap spots. You know, you're better off long-term learning how to play an area like this and then retreat. That kind of idea. So next, let's go upstairs and talk about upper glass. So looking at the early pushes up to take control of upper glass or gallery or up and over, whatever you want to call it, just as long as you're making your calls in game and helping out your teammates. One thing a defender can do early in the round is wait in this corner to see if there's going to be an early rush for glass. And the reason this works well is right through this wall here is the stairwell. So if you're crouched right in this corner, you can completely hear anybody coming up these stairs at the start of the round. So if you are rushing up here at the start of the round, or even later in the round, the way I like to push for this area is, if I know this is where I'm going to be trying to play, I like to take 2 smokes and, or not 2 smokes, 2 stuns and 2 fog grenades. And what I'll do is throw a fog there, and the reason for that is it blocks off quite a few common spots to play defense from up here. And then after doing that, I'll throw the flash there, check this spot, and then check for enemies back down this way. And what I'll even do sometimes is throw the first fog and just, you know, wait back around this corner to see if any spam grenades come. And, you know, they can come from a few places. They can come from down this hallway. They can come from the guy that sometimes likes to camp at that chair if you're playing in a pub typically. Or they can come from down below up through this window. So just being nice and passive for the first round of that can really save your skin. Playing defense on gallery or glass, I like to do a few different things. One thing I learned from the Ice 9 guys, probably my favorite way to play defense up here, is an offensive defense. At the start of the round, normally the first engagement point is when the defender would turn this corner and the attacker would turn the corner at the bottom, and people need to trade fire right here. So what I'll do is run up, throw the first flash like that. I'll actually chase it a little bit. But when that goes off, when you come around this first corner as a defender, the attacker, if they're rushing up, is going to be flashed. If they backed off and didn't get flashed, throwing a second one will help flash anybody here. And you gotta be a little careful turning this corner. If an enemy is hiding at the top of the stairwell waiting for you, they can shoot you right there. So, depending on how aggressive I want to be, you can either keep flashing and try to push all the way up to here, or you can just, you know, check this area a little bit and then back off. But that strategy works pretty well. Something I don't like to see on defense up here is hiding behind this chair, just generally hiding in this corner. And just like I talked about in West Wing, hiding down that hallway, when you're hiding behind this chair, you're trapping yourself. And A good player is going to do something like flash down this hallway or grenade down this hallway or fog or smoke so that they can check this angle safely when they come out without worrying too much about getting shot from back there. And what they really should do is just pre-fire when they turn the corner, and that'll completely neutralize any real threat from somebody hiding behind that corner. Even if they don't check that corner, if you miss your first few shots, they're going to know you're there, you're trapped, you don't have anywhere to run to, they're going to flash you, they're going to grenade you. It's the same kind of deal where you're hoping that the assaulting player makes a mistake and that you'll be able to capitalize on it. And it's the kind of gimmick that sometimes works, but I don't know, I just don't see it as good long-term strategy for making yourself a better player. Something a lot of people do is they'll sit on this railing down here and do this kind of deal and try to shoot anybody as they come out. This is okay, but your goal as defender is to keep any enemies away from this glass, away from being able to clear out all of your guys playing defense down here by dark room or behind the benches. And if you're all the way down at the stairs, all it's going to take is one fog or one smoke and you're completely cut off. And, you know, you might not be cut off for very long, but it's long enough for a guy to get up here, see a guy on the benches and kill him. And that's really what you're trying to prevent. So if you are playing down there, I don't know, be aware of that, I guess. Be ready to move up and throw grenades or something. Just so you're not completely, you know, ceding all of this territory to the other team as soon as they throw a fog at you. Something I like to do sometimes playing defense up here is to carefully edge my way out onto this ledge and poke my head around this corner. And what you can do, you can even edge a little bit further out, you can completely see this entire opening and shoot enemies through its command even as they start to turn around this corner. The downside to being up here is you are very exposed to anybody below you pushing from main T or dark room on either side or through defense spawn. So, you know, you really depend on your teammates telling you, hey, we're open in dark room, we've got people pushing out, you know, and back off. But it's a nice spot because since you do get to lean out, you can quickly pop in and out for cover. And you're not too exposed to grenades or anything like that. You've got ways to fall back. It's a nice spot. I like it. So I won't say too much about assault strategy. I think it's mostly covered in each of the choke point discussions. I will say there are fast ways and slow ways to get from the assault spawn to the dark room. The fastest way is to have one guy run out along the east wall and shoot out this glass for a second guy who actually hops through here instead of coming around. And when you do that, the guy that actually vaults through ends up getting here something like a second faster. I'll do a comparison and give the actual numbers in the video. But that ends up giving at least one guy a nice advantage in getting to the dark room for that first exchange of fire out here. And those first spam grenades, all of that. So that's something to be aware of. The slowest way, probably not surprisingly, is to go around through the red hallway. And finally, I'll kind of combine talking about playing defense at dark room and main T. So main T, kind of like I've touched on earlier, the concept here is you can either push from the east side or from the west side. If you're pushing from the east side, your goal is to kind of help clear out this whole area to get a flag carrier from dark room to extract, that kind of idea. So it's a lot of suppressive fire, a lot of trying to pick anybody here. The other thing you can do if you're trying to push through main T, especially from the west side, is gain control of this back area outside dark room so that teammates can push through dark room. So that's coming up here, trying to check this whole bench. As you move along further, you can check this chair. The issue with doing that is you're kind of more exposing yourself to anybody at any of these benches or lower glass. But that's the concept, to help out the guy at dark room with his push. And the main thing you gotta watch out for, in my experience, is people like to play at desk. So there's a lot of different places you can play there, right? You can play this front area. You can even try to use this computer for cover here. I've seen a lot of people that'll stay behind this partition and peek out around behind it. Same thing here. All of that kind of strategy. Playing dark room, honestly, I don't have as much experience playing back here as some of the other people on my team. So I won't say too much about nade timings or any of that, just because I don't know it as well, and I don't want to give anybody bad information. The general advice would be stay out of the spam nade area. Don't get caught in all that, and have teammates rushing to try to revive you and all that. Be a little bit more cautious. If you try to hit people when they poke their head around there and run away, stay away from the grenades. And don't be afraid to give up room, just same as playing back in West Wing. Retreat, stay alive, engage the northerns. After you fight them once at that first door, fight them again for this door. Once they're pushed out, back off again. And what you can even do is, rather than play this corner, where once you've been seen once, where do you run away to? You just hide back in this corner and hope they don't shoot you, I guess. And then you've got to dive across there and hope you don't get shot. What you can do instead is play this angle, and if you miss that shot, you just back off this way. The downside there is you've got more room to run away, but now you're more exposed to anybody pushing for main T, so once again you're reliant on your teammates to cover that for you, to tell you, run away. Nobody's covering that anymore. Find a safer spot. Back off a little bit more. Now you're trying to play this angle here instead of doorways, or play the other side. And it's about that combination of engage as early as you can and retreat as often as you can. Make Assault have to fight you as many times as possible. So, hopefully this is a little bit of insight on just general good tactics, good gameplay. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know what else you'd like to see. I think the next video I'm going to try to put up will hopefully be on some of the upcoming patch changes and how I feel about them. We'll see if I can make that happen. So thanks and enjoy.